Yo! Sanjay Uchiha here, people, giving you my review on Dragon Ball Super Episode 58, titled Zamasu and Black, Their Mystery Deepens. Okay, so, as usual, since I'm watching this on Saturday, credit must go to Herms98 on Twitter for providing the translations to what actually happened in the episode. So, I must say this episode in general, coming off of episodes 56 and 57, I mean, everybody could have told, well, based on the episode titles that came out, we all knew that the episode was going to be a bit more slower in pace, to say the least. And that's what it was. We got a lot of exposition in this episode, which I don't mind. It was more of the characters throwing around theories regarding Zamasu and Black. So, getting into it, continuing off of last week's episode, we have Zamasu questioning Zuno about the Super Dragon Balls and essentially what they are and where to find them. So, if you remember the explanation we got from Zuno to Bulma and Jaco back in the Universe 6 arc, it's essentially the same explanation Zuno gives to Zamasu regarding their creation, their year, etc., etc. Essentially. So, eventually Zamasu gets a bit pissed off and tells him that he's a Kai, and if he wanted to, he could wipe him out in an instant, and all he cares about is how to use the Super Dragon Balls. But Zuno, one thing I like is that at this point, we get that the Super Dragon Balls, similarly to the Earth's Dragon Balls, they become inactive for a year. So he tells him that he'll have to wait a year before the Super Dragon Balls become active again. So that's something important to note there. And as we already knew, that Zamasu does go ahead to ask about Goku, and he actually gets more than 3 questions from Zuno. So I guess from this point on, we can begin to put the pieces together that probably that Zamasu did in fact create Black based on the knowledge he obtained from Zuno and his fight with Goku. But moving on. So back on Earth, Bulma actually goes on to give Vegeta, Trunks, and Goku a sensu bean, instantly healing them of their wounds, obviously. And apparently Goku forgot to carry the sensu beans, which I find to be ridiculous, because he apparently left them in the bathroom, which is super convenient, or super stupid. So, they basically go on to explain that they fought Zamasu and Black in the future, with, I'm guessing, Trunks explaining that Zamasu was apparently invulnerable to all their attacks. Kid Trunks apparently asks if Zamasu is immortal, and Bulma says even gods aren't immortal. And they go on to tell Bulma about Black's new Super Saiyan form, and apparently Bulma thinks his naming sense is pretty stupid. So Goku apparently suggests that they fight Zamasu by becoming immortal as well, and eating a ton of sensu beans, which I don't see how that would give you immortality, Goku. That's just you being stupid. So eventually, we move on from there, with Trunks telling Mai that her future self is alive, and then eventually Whis, Beerus, and the Supreme Kai come down, with Whis noting that Supreme Kai has something to ask Goku, apparently. So he makes us aware that Zamasu actually contacted Zuno about the Super Dragon Balls and asked about Goku. So, I don't know, well, at this point, it really just switches over to Universe 10 in the Kaioshin realm, where Goasu, he's essentially still drinking tea, but he's asking for Zamasu. So apparently Zamasu isn't back from Zuno's place just yet. So, as Goku and Trunks and company continue to update Beerus and Whis and Supreme Kai on what's actually happening, Whis speculates that Zamasu, he's trying to obtain power to enforce his will. So we pretty much already knew that. And they continue to theorize and speculate that, you know, this is the reason why he would need the Super Dragon Balls and to actually have a guy like Black by his side to actually accomplish his goals. So, as we saw before, Zamasu took an interest to Goku after that sparring match, and this probably made him interested in, I guess, going on to create Goku Black based on the information that we're getting in this episode. But as the episode goes along, I like how they're putting 2 and 2 together, because since the Super Dragon Balls won't be available for a year, Beerus basically comes to the conclusion that with the time ring, Zamasu could essentially just travel to the future a year, in a year's time, and just use them to wish for immortality. But since he's not a fully fledged Kaioshin, they start to come to the conclusion that Gowasu may be in danger, or he's going to actually have to die. So a lot of people were actually speculating that yes, Zamasu is going to kill Gowasu, unfortunately. And I think it would have been cool to have Gowasu around, but for the sake of the plot, he apparently has to die. That's unfortunate. It's kind of getting to like him. So yeah, they continue to speculate that Zamasu is gonna kill him and steal the time ring. Whis goes on to admit that all these theories still don't really explain why Goku and don't explain why Zamasu and Black have similar ki, even though they're theorizing that Black may just be a copy of Goku. Yeah, and funny enough, like the scene that I found like really funny in this episode, it was actually Goku who was theorizing that that Zamasu may have went on to actually create Black, and this apparently just shocks everybody, which it's, I guess, or yeah, I mean, for Goku to go on to theorize that, I guess it's only right that it surprises everybody else. But moving on, so we go back to the future for a bit, and we have a scene of Mai and Yajirobe heading back to the underground base of the Resistance, where everybody seems to be in despair since Goku and Vegeta lost and Trunks is no longer there. So Mai is essentially reassuring the Resistance and the remaining survivors that they need to believe in Trunks, and I guess at the end of the day they still have to wait around. So eventually Goku, Beerus, Whis, and Supreme Kai go over to Universe 10 to ask if Zamasu's there, and Goku, like an idiot, I guess this guy doesn't have any idea how to just gather information without spilling the beans. I don't know, Goku, you dumbass. But yeah, so Goku goes ahead to just blurt out that Zamasu's essentially evil in the future, and then Beerus goes on to hit him in the head for just blurting that out. So they go on to question him about Zamasu's motives and his sense of justice, and we get a flashback. Well, it's not exactly the same animated scenes from the previous episodes, but Gowasu goes on to explain that he goes on to explain his sense of justice, but he thinks he's finally on the right track now. And then the episode ends off with Zamasu entering the scene from the door behind Gowasu, telling everybody that the tea's ready after realizing Goku and crew are there, and he just cracks a smile, and that's it for the episode. So, I must say, coming from the action-packed episode 56 and 57, I don't mind this episode going into so much exposition, because at this point, we've reached a part in the arc where I believe that we should be getting to find out who Black is essentially. So the characters themselves theorizing and bringing a lot of exposition to the episode is actually good. Yeah, that's definitely good. It shows that, I mean, the characters have to be thinking about this to solve the mystery about Black. And I do like how they're connecting the dots here as a group. So essentially, even though where Super is concerned, characters like Beerus, Whis, Goku, Vegeta are basically the main characters, essentially. But what this is doing is that what this episode here is doing is I guess, involving a lot of characters, making them useful, even if it's contributing on a, I guess, a mental or knowledge aspect. And I really like that. That makes this episode pretty decent. The animation and the models of the crafted episode, they're okay. I mean, since due to the type of episode this is, where it's not really action heavy, it was okay. It was sufficient for what actually happened. So the problem here with this episode, though, and I don't know if Super is going to go ahead to remedy this, is that there is a problem where if it's even a case where Zamasu goes on to create Black, that's a problem, because essentially if Zamasu went on to create Black because of his battle with Goku, and his battle with Goku, yes, but the thing is, Goku and company wouldn't have gone to Universe 10 in the first place if Black didn't come to this timeline. So it's kind of confusing with all this time travel, I must say. So I don't know. It's kind of like a time paradox or some strange time loop, where if Black didn't come, Goku and the company wouldn't have went to Universe 10. But the only what's being implied with this episode is that the only reason why Black was created, well, at least in the image of Goku, was because Goku and company went to Universe 10 in the first place. So that's the problem there with the episode. But I must say, it was a decent episode. It's okay, a bit more laid back, and I'd definitely give this episode a 4 out of 5. I mean, involving other characters is always good, and putting the pieces together. The pacing, based on the episode titles that came out, I did a video on that. I'll probably leave a link to the description below for episode titles and summaries for episode 58 to 61. It seems they're slowing down the pace, which I don't completely mind, but I just hope these next few episodes don't drag along too much. Based on how this episode went, it's a possibility that 59 and 60 may drag, but we'll wait to see how that plays out. But all in all, this is my review, guys, on episode 58. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and tell me if it's a case you really think that leave your comments on how do you think Zamasu created Black, I suppose, because I'm guessing at the end of the day he still would have used his Super Dragon Balls for immortality. So it's still up in the air how he actually created Black. But leave your comments, share this video out, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed this one.